Hi, my name is Alessandro Bogliolo. I'm the coordinator of the group of CodeWeek ambassadors who are working toward the next edition of a Euro CodeWeek. I'm very happy of this opportunity of telling you how to take part in Europe CodeWeek. The picture that you see on my screen is a family picture that we took in Brussels together with all CodeWeek ambassadors and with Commissioner Maria Gabriel, who is challenging Europe CodeWeek to involve at least 50% of all the European schools by 2020. So this means that we need to ask teachers for help, because only by involving teachers we will succeed in involving schools, because schools are made by people, teachers, pupils, students. And we need teachers to reach out to students, but we want also to specifically target teachers. And this is the main page of the website of Europe Code Week, which is mainly targeting teachers this year. So let me show how. If we we scroll down this page, we find the teachers directly here, and we find schools as one of the main tabs provided here. So let me first of all open another tab, other two tabs. This is the ambassador tab, where you can find the contact of the ambassadors in charge in your country. You see, you have to choose a country and the ambassador will show up. And this is another tab, which is a resource tab, where you will find the communication toolkits, a general one where you can easily find templates, both for PowerPoint presentations and for Word documents, but also the graphical elements, the logo, the bubbles that you can print out or reuse for digital documents, or even to be printed out or to print your t-shirts or whatever, or for decorations in your classroom, in your school. But there is also a more specific toolkit for teachers, where you find flyers, posters, and so on. And there is also a localized version of a leaflet that you can download and possibly distribute or print out. This is the Italian version, by the way. I'd like also to mention that the entire website is localized in many languages, and hopefully you'll find yours, or otherwise you can always rely on English, as I'm doing right now. Just to give you an example, if I switch to Italian, then the website switch as well, so that I find here scuole rather than school, resource rather than resources, and so on. Then I can switch back to English for the sake of this demonstration. So let me find where English is. Here it is. Okay. So going back to the tab that I mentioned, which is called the school, this is divided into 4 sections. The first one provides motivation. And by following this link, you are asked to sign in into the website. I already did it, so that here there is a name of a test account that I'm using to this purpose. Then there is another section which is ready to get involved, which invites you to create an event and add it to the map. Here you can also see the events that were organized last year. And you can also go back and see what happened in 2016, in 2015, in 2014. Then there is another very informative session, which is this one. Our tools help introduce you to coding before bringing it to your students. This means that if you are new on this topic, you can take advantage of the learning bits that have been prepared by experts, I'm one of them, in Brussels and then produced by European SchoolNet. And those are resources that are made of a short video tutorial of about 5 minutes and then lesson plans associated with each of it. And it covers 5 different topics. So coding without digital technology, what is called unplugged coding, computational thinking and problem solving. The video tutorial has been prepared by Miles Burry. Visual programming, an introduction to Scratch by Margot Tinawi. Creating educational games with Scratch, created by Jesus Moreno Leon. And making robotics and tinkering in the classroom, prepared by Tulia Urchitz. Opening one of them, you can find the video tutorial and then the lesson plans for primary school, lower secondary school, and secondary school. So I hope that you will take advantage of these learning bits, but now I'd like to show you how to add an event to the map, because the event map is our main instrument to do something together, to contribute to the success of an international initiative. This adds to the value of the activity that you are organizing in your classroom. So what's an event to be added to the map? Basically, any activity that you will organize doing something with coding in your classroom during CodeWeek is worth to be considered as an activity, as an event, and to be added to the map, because this will allow you the opportunity to be rewarded by a certificate of recognition, but this will also provide to your students and to you the thrill and the reward of taking part in something big, in something that will end up involving more than 1 million people, as it happened last year. So basically, in order to add an event to the map, you have just to click to this link and then to provide a name, like for instance, Cody Games EU 2018, name of your organization, in this case is the University of Urbino. Then the type of organization, assume that is a school. Then a description, interactive webinar. This is my case because I'm speaking about a true initiative that I'm organizing for CodeWeek, just to provide a realistic example. Then I have to specify the audience. In this case, are elementary school students, and why not high school students. It will cover basic programming concepts, unplugged activities, playful coding activities, for instance. And very important, I have to put here my contact email, because otherwise I won't be able to submit the event. Then there are other required fields, like the address, which could be the address of your school, and then the start and then date. In my case, I put here October the 10th at 11, and again October the 10th at noon. Here it is. Then I can add other information, like, for instance, a website. This is not mandatory. You see, there are no asterisks, meaning that this is not just strictly required, while this is an email address that I can provide and will be published on the page devoted to this event. Then there are 2 more fields. These fields are very, very important, even if they are not mandatory. If I leave them blank, then nothing will be added to the event. But I can provide here, for instance, some tags. This is completely open as a field, so I can write here all the tabs that, for instance, represent a project that could be any twinning project you are involved in, or the name of a group you belong to, or as in the case that I use it as an example, the name of a Facebook group which represents a community of practice or a learning community that you belong to. It is important to use these tags because in this way, after CodeWeek, you will be able to measure the impact that your community, your group, your initiative, your project had into this edition of CodeWeek just by counting the number of events and possibly the number of participants to all the events that shared the same tag. So please make use of this tag, and you can add as many tags as you want. So for instance, if you have a partner, a company, an ICT company in your town who helped you organize an event, then the name of the company can even be put there. Or if you want to acknowledge the instrument that you use, like for instance, code.org or Scratch or Codirobi or whatever, you could add it as a tag to make it easily recognizable afterwards. While the code week for all code is a field that you can leave blank. If you leave it blank, what happens is that once you submit the event and the event is eventually approved, you get an email with a unique code assigned to your event. And what you can do in that is then take this code and share it with other colleagues, inviting them to organize events specifying the same code in this field. This will allow the organizer of Eurocode Week to recognize that all these events belong to, let me call it, a team of event organizers who were basically taking the Code Week for All challenge all together. What's the Code Week for All challenge? To know more, you can just click on the link. And the Code Week for All challenge is aimed at pushing event organizers to organize more than one event, to involve colleagues in order to possibly involve a larger audience than the one who is targeted just by the event they are adding. And this can be done in many different ways. So you can, now let me see, here it is. You can try to involve in in all the events sharing the same Code Week for All code more than 500 students, or you can just organize at least 10 different linked events, or you can organize events in 3 different countries. And this is, for instance, something that could be done within the eTwinning platform, because if you are running an international eTwinning project, if you are involved in such a project, you could become a proponent by registering your own event, getting a unique code, and then sharing this code with other colleagues, with partners in other countries, to invite them to register their own events, linking their events to yours by specifying the same Code Week for All code. And if at least one of these 3 conditions is satisfied, is met, then after Code Week, you will get a certificate of excellence in coding literacy directly provided by the European Commission. So it's yet another form of recognition, of reward, of the great contribution that you will bring to the success of this initiative. Okay, let me go back to the map. I can add an image. This is not mandatory, but I can do it. And then I can add the event. Okay, so I succeeded. And now I can click here to find my event. You see, this is the event that I just created. I can edit it, and oops, something went wrong here. Okay, now the image has been uploaded, so I have to edit it, and now the image is properly shown up. But the event is still pending, you see. So I have to wait for the CodeWeek ambassador in my country to approve it. And as soon as the event is approved, then I'll get an email, and the email looks like this one that I obtained thanks to a previous event that I uploaded, because I cannot show you what happens when this event is approved, because in this case, I am also playing the role of CodeWeek ambassador, so I should approve my own event, which is not good as a demonstration. So you get an email like this, where you will find a unique code, which is the one specified here. This is the code that you can share with your partners, and by copy it, like for instance, by clicking on Control and the C key on your keyboard, then you can re-edit the event to be linked and paste the code here. This is what your colleagues have to do to link their events to yours, or what you have to do to link your event to someone else's event. Okay? Then after CodeWeek, you will be invited to report on the event by specifying the number of participants, and upon submission of the report, you will get your certificate of recognition, and you will allow the commission to, and all CodeWeek ambassadors, to also count the number of participants to make sure that you won the CodeWeek for All challenge. Okay, there is just one last thing that I'd like to tell you, that the event that I just created to demonstrate how to use the map of events is actually an interactive webinar that can be followed worldwide, exactly at that specific day, so on October the 10th at 11 a.m. And if you manage to participate by watching the video live at that time with your students, even this form of participation can be seen as a CodeWeek activity. So you can create your own activity and add it to the map, just because you are watching this webinar, because this webinar will be interactive, and I will play with you and with your students, allowing you to interact with me by means of instant polling mechanisms, so that this will be a true coding activity, not just watching a video. So this is an opportunity and also an example of how simple it is to take part in CodeWeek. So please take advantage of all the resources provided by website, and in particular, take advantage of Europe CodeWeek 2018 in order to bring coding into your classrooms and into your teaching practice. And if you are already doing so because you are an expert of coding and you usually make use of coding activities, then in this case, your contribution will be even more important, and you can even play a key role as leading teacher in order to provide a good example and help your colleagues to participate in CodeWeek and to bring coding in their classrooms. So thank you very much for the attention, and thank you very much for your contribution to the success of Europe CodeWeek. Bye bye and enjoy coding.